Hello, everybody in the National Owner Operators Association land. Owner Operators, No Authority, New Authority. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. We got a special guest tonight, Carmine Perella from Premier RX. Is going to be joining us tonight and talking about saving money on prescription medications and doctor's visits through NOOA with Premier RX. Had a very interesting day today. Met with Senator Ted Cruz and his people. It was an interesting meeting. I definitely have a lot of good news to report. And a lot of information. Waiting for our, I guess, panel to fill up. I see some people popping in. This is a live call-in show, so if anyone wants to call in, there's the number. Call in if you have any questions about Premier RX or anything concerning the National Owner Operators Association, what we're doing as far as what we're doing in Washington, any of our services that we offer. Yeah, that's the number if you want to call in. If you just want to text your comments in here, I could see them. I see that we've got a few people already here and commenting. Howdy. Hey, Justin. Let's see who else. Shane, what's up, brother? I want you on the show. Let me know if you're available to come on tonight. I'll send you a invite. Also, you too, Justin. Open invitations for both of you. All right, so let's get right to it. We got Carmine Perella from Premier RX on the show. Hello, Carmine. Thank you for being here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mike. Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear, and I know everyone out there is excited to finally see your face. Put a face to that voice. Is your mic on, or did it go out?
My mic, I believe it's on. Can you hear me?
It's on. I'm watching you on two screens. I see that it's on.
Okay.
Do you have anyone else coming in to join you, Carmine?
Maybe to listen in, but nobody's going to be speaking with me, if that's what you're asking.
All right, because I got some people in the waiting area there. I guess they're waiting for me, but I thought they might have been with you. So I'm just going to let them wait there until they tell me who they are. So I don't know, but let's get started. So Premier RX, Carmine, I'd like you to explain to our viewers of basically what Premier RX, what it is that you do, and how you bring value to the National Owner Operators Association. But if you could first start off with telling people a little bit about yourself, and yeah, thank you.
I appreciate that. So as you guys will probably quickly understand, I'm a New Yorker. I lived up in Long Island, New York most of my life. I moved down to Florida around 8 years ago. And what we put together here is a very powerful program that really, quite honestly, came from me doing the research on what was going on with this industry, and quite honestly, getting pretty pissed off about what I found, and starting to really understand why we pay so much for these drugs. And it's all because of profit, all because of corporate greed. As I did this research over a course of, let's call it a week, I started to realize that there is really something seriously wrong what was going on in this country with the price of our prescriptions. And it's all because of what we call PBMs, which are pharmacy benefit managers. Mike, do you have that PowerPoint that I sent over to you? Could you start sharing those screens or no?
There you go.
Excellent. So go to the next screen if you could, Mike. I'm excited to share this information with everybody because I believe this is going to be a very eye-opening experience to understand why we pay so much money for these drugs. And by the time I'm done, you're going to realize and maybe have the same sort of passion and anger that I have. So if you look at this screen, you're going to realize that when an employer gives out a benefit package, there's going to be major medical, and that's going to be hospitalization. That's going to be a physician's network. But just as separate as dental or vision is what we know as a prescription card or a drug plan. And that's called a PBM. And on average, a business owner is paying $130 to $180 per month per employee for the PBM of that policy. Now, they might be paying $900 for that policy, but they're paying $130 to $180 of it for the PBM. What we first want to do is drive that cost down to $59.95 per month for that employee. And that's one of 5 ways we're going to save them money. But that's the first thing we're going to do. Go to the next screen, please. Now, what is a PBM? It's a pharmacy benefit manager. It's a middleman that negotiates with the manufacturers to bring their product to the marketplace. And what happens is the manufacturers give them these rebates that they're supposed to be passing forward to the insurer, to the pharmacy, to the business owner, but they wind up keeping them for themselves. And what they do is they cause the price to rise because the manufacturer has to now offset the kickback to the PBM. Next slide. Thank you. 1 out of 8 companies are now pulling the PBM out of their policies. So at the end of the year, they're saying, hey, you know what? The way I asked for a quote without the dental, give me a quote without the PBM and I'll replace it. The average policy increases 8 to 12% annually. And that doesn't matter if usage changes or not. You're going to see that kind of increase on your policy. This industry, folks, was 489 billion last year, and is projected to grow at 5.9% compounded to 2030. And they're just creating more and more profits for themselves. They continually increase everybody on an annual basis, and that's how they're a half a trillion going to $750 billion industry. Now, there's 66 PBMs as of last year, controlling 266 million American lives. Next slide. But this is the incredible thing about this. We call them the big three, and they control over 80% of this half a trillion dollar market. And they're charging that 130 to 180 per month per employee per member. And it's Caremark, it's Express Scripts, and it's Optum Rx. And what you'll realize is they're owned by Aetna and Cigna and United Health Group. You talk about the fox watching the hen house. You have a insurance company that somehow legally is allowed to own their own PBM. So what they do is they embed their PBM within their policy, and they have the brokers go out there and sell it that way. And the truth is, the average broker does not know how this game really works. Now, why would they, right? Insurance company doesn't want them to know how this really works. So what happens is they embed their PBM within their policy. Now, if you have Aetna, you go to Caremark, you go to CVS, and Caremark keeps those rebates. And that's one of the reasons why there's a CVS on every corner. Nobody's in any of them, and they keep building them because they're keeping all the rebates. And this is kind of how this game works. Now, when I did this research, I saw Amazon and Walmart, and even Mark Cuban had jumped into this arena. Mark Cuban started Cost Plus about 18 months ago, his direct-to-consumer website. We can talk about Mark in more detail after, but the bottom line is they're going after the individual market. We're going after businesses, associations, and unions, and we want to drive their costs down and show them what this program can truly do for them. Next slide. These are a couple of things I found to show you the validity of what I'm talking about. In October of 18, the Patients' Right to Know Drug Price Act was passed. And if you read it, it's kind of disturbing what we don't get to know about our own medical information. But check this out. Before they passed this, it was actually illegal for a pharmacist to tell us the difference between a cash price and a copay price when you went to the counter. And that's when I realized something was seriously wrong here. Now, about 9 weeks ago, the Federal Trade Commission has launched an investigation into these drug company middlemen, calling CVS, Caremark, Express Scripts, Optum Rx, Humana, all those companies in front of Congress for 3 weeks to explain why they charge us so much money for drugs. The truth is, nothing's going to happen to them. This is the biggest lobbyist in Washington. This is where the biggest money is switching hands, and it's all switching hands on the American people's backs. But what we're now getting is an opportunity, because as more awareness is out there, there's more opportunity for companies like us to come in and to help disrupt this market for the positive. Next slide. Back in April, the governor of New York rolls out a $705 million Medicaid program called the NYRX card. But look what the senator says in this article. He says this move is a win for everyone involved except for the drug company middlemen, who will no longer be able to rip off the state's taxpayers, patients, and providers. I will just tell everybody listening to this, this is like back in the day when the mob bill was, MCI and AT&T and Sprint were charging us 37 cents for a long distance call. This is like what happened with the deregulation of the energy industry. What starts to happen is awareness gets out there and people start to see what's going on, and they jump in the industry, and change will take place one way or another. Now, these guys are so big, it's going to take some time, but I promise you, you're seeing it every day. There's 9 bills in Congress right now about these PBMs. Next slide, please. The governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, signed in May the Prescription Drug Reform Act into law. And he says PBMs and Big Pharma have managed to escape the public eye and work in the shadows for far too long. They're coming after these guys. There's no question about it. And awareness is out there. And it's a great thing for every American, because we're finally going to drive the price of these drugs down. Next slide, please. Now, what are we? So Premier RX is a national consultant marketing company that's partnered with 365 Scripts, an innovative prescription benefit company, to offer cost-saving solutions. We are about people, not prescriptions. The PBMs out there, They're about prescriptions, not people. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples in a second. But the bottom line is this program was designed to drive down the cost. So the way we've designed this program is just like Costco. It's a membership-based alternative. So Costco does not make their money on selling us the food. They make their money on the memberships. We're not making our money on the drugs. We are literally giving you the drugs for just over cost to cover our cost, and we're making our money on the memberships. So we want to get you the best pricing for the drugs because we're not making the money on the drugs. So we're literally doing this to help people, not make profits off of people. Next slide, please. Now, what does this program consist of? The first thing you receive is you receive a formulary of 1,000 different generic drugs that will be delivered to the patient, to the employee's door on a 90-day supply with no copay, no shipping. And that is comprised of over 90% of the maintenance medication the average person takes on a daily basis. So that is going to be your blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, thyroid medication, your inhalers, your birth control. It's all in this. And why we designed it this way is because what happens for the people that can't take their maintenance medication, let's say somebody living paycheck to paycheck that can't afford to go to the doctor, can't afford to pick up that copay payment. They're not what they call compliant in medical terms. And what that means is they're not taking their maintenance medication, and it's raising their risk of stroke. It's raising their risk of heart attack. This is what this program was designed for, is to help those people first and foremost. Now, within that formulary also comes over 60 urgent care drugs that can be picked up at the local pharmacy free as part of our program when you walk in with our prescription card. And I'll talk about that more in a second when I go to point number 4 about the remote doctor service. Now, the deep discounts that we offer also will be part of specialty and branded drugs. Now, why is that so important? Because 80% of people will be on generics, but 80% of your drug cost comes from brands. You have to be able to match a PBM on the brand prices. And we truly have a PBM behind us that is in the boat rowing with us, that is part of our team, has given us wholesale pricing, and we are able to pass that over. We actually have the same brand pricing as the big three do. So we're going to help drive down the cost of these drugs, regardless of what drug you need. Either you're going to receive the formulary directly to your door, completely free, once the $59.95 a month is paid, excuse me, or you're going to be getting the best prices you can on brands. We also just contracted 3 weeks ago with a company that will help us receive over 130 brands from Canada at below rebate prices, close to wholesale pricing. So I'll give you an example. If the drug is $1,000 and we can get you back up, let's call it a $150 rebate. Well, now we might be able to get you that drug for $540 instead of just giving you $150 off of $1,000 at $850. So we're doing everything we can to literally take the price of these drugs and shrink it as much as possible. Now, the fourth thing is unlimited access to our U.S. doctors. Now, we utilize a company called SwiftMD. Now, what's unique about SwiftMD is they only use W-2 employee doctors. They don't call at the end of their shift. They don't call between patients, but 24/7 unlimited access, on average 6 to 9 minute wait time, and a doctor's going to pop on that screen. So let me give you an example of how this would work. Let's say, for example, the employee gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning and doesn't feel well. They can call SwiftMD. Boom, within 9 minutes, the doctor pops on the screen. Doctor says, you know what, let's get you an antibiotic. Let's get you a Z-Pack. They can call it into their local pharmacy. Half hour later, that employee can walk in with our prescription card and pick it up free. Okay. Now, what did we do? We gave them instant medical attention. What did we do for that employer? Well, we did 2 very powerful financial things. Number one, because we gave them instant medical attention, we're going to help raise productivity. We're going to bring them back to work 1 to 3 days sooner. But the second thing we did, if you talk to a business owner, they'll tell you, we stopped them from going to the emergency room. And emergency room costs are killing small business owners right now. They're out of control. So what we've done is we've given them a vehicle that makes it more convenient for the employee and makes it much more cost effective for the business owner. That's how the program really was designed, and that's what we put together. This is not insurance. I don't want anybody to be misled by that. This is a prescription benefit program that's going to give everybody what they truly want, and that's access to a doctor, and that's prescriptions. And I want to talk about insurance for a second, because right now, if you look at the actual national health marketplace, the deductibles are $6, $8, $10, $12, $15,000 depending on the state you're in. And what that really means, quite honestly, you have no insurance. You have nothing until you meet that deductible. So yeah, it's great if, God forbid, I need a surgery for $150,000, but the average person is never going to use $8,000 to $10,000 if they're a healthy person in the course of a year. So when you really truly think about it, you don't have anything. You don't have any insurance. You're paying for everything out of pocket. And that's the biggest problem with this industry right now, is it's all about corruption and greed on their part, and they're taking away more and more of our coverage and really what we consider some sort of security when it comes to medical benefits. So this is a prescription program that's designed to either supplement what you, if you don't have anything right now. To give you an example, if you're a 1099, if you're a franchisor, if you have a small business and you want to offer basic coverage for your employees, this is a program that's going to give you that coverage. That's going to give you a doctor that everybody really truly wants access to, and it's going to give you those prescriptions. And that's what the program is really designed for. Next slide, please. Now, when I talk about brand drugs, I talk about all those drugs, specialty drugs and brands that you're going to spend basically 80% of your expense on. Okay. Now we have a rebate aggregator behind us as well. And what that means is that we're going to take our small portfolio and put it in with their massive portfolio, pulling back the max amount of rebates from those manufacturers for the business owners. Okay. And you can see participating pharmacies like CVS and Costco, Walgreens, Safeway, Walmart, Rite Aid, they're all in this retail chain network. Now, why is that so powerful? Because of the scalability of what we could do with this business. Because we don't take on any of that labor, it stays at whatever pharmacy you're already using right now. Now, if you're a business owner and you're listening, the beauty of this program is not only do we have a PBM behind us, not only do we have a company that can get us over 130 brands at wholesale pricing, but we also are going to mirror your existing policy. We're going to match whatever you're doing right now. So if you're having them pay a $20 copay, they're going to pay a $20 copay with us. Nothing is going to change. And for your employee, there's no disruption. They're just going to walk in with a different prescription card. But besides for that, they're not going to see any change whatsoever. So what's going to happen is you're going to sign a contract with 365 Script, which is the formulary for the mail order. And you're also going to sign a contract with our PBM. And now you're going to have a full PBM offering behind you. You're going to have a welcome pack with a prescription card. You're going to have an online portal. You're going to have an 800 number. You're going to have all that. We have a whole claim processing PBM behind us. We're going to have step therapy. And that's when you try to take somebody from an inexpensive generic before you put them onto an expensive brand. We have all that behind us as a full PBM offering. Next slide, please. This program is very simple. It's $59.95 per person. If you want to add your spouse, it's $4 more a month. If you want to add your whole household, it's another $4 a month. That's it. It's that simple. It's that inexpensive. And it was designed to help the average person with the price of these drugs that's out of control. And I want to just give you this couple of really quick examples. I think this is very important. I did my own research, and what I found was that the average generic can be created for a penny to 2 pennies a pill. But yet then I read that the Kaiser Foundation did a report that the average American pays $11 to $17 for generic drugs. And then I realized something was seriously wrong. I'll give you an example. This is how corrupt this industry, this is how disgusting this industry really is. We have an 88-year-old woman, and I have the letter to prove it, who's on United Health. And she has a bad back, and she takes morphine every day for the pain. And they send a letter that it doesn't fit in their formulary anymore. And they're taking her off of it. And when you look at the letter, you realize They're moving to OxyContin. Now, OxyContin is $6, $7 a pill. Morphine is dirt cheap. And the only reason why they're doing this is because they're going to get a dollar rebate back for themselves. If you need another example of how disgusting this industry is, that's the best one I could think of. An 88-year-old woman that's on morphine dirt cheap, and they're putting on OxyContin just so they can make money. We're going to do everything we can to disrupt this industry for the positive for every American in this country. That is my passion. That's why I sit in front of everybody tonight. That's why I appreciate the opportunity to speak to everybody and share this information. And if it helped anybody get an understanding of why we pay so much money for drugs, this is the way this thing works. There's 5 ways we're going to save a business owner money. Monthly savings when we drive their price from, that 130, 140 a month down to 59.95. Generic savings when we take all those copays away and we deliver it to their door on a 90-day supply for free. Brand rebates, which they're not seeing. I had a company just the other day, 480 employees, have Aetna, no rebates. Rebates are going to Caremark, going back to the PBM. Reduced emergency room costs. This is a big one too. I spoke to a lady the other day, 240 employees. She tells me she just received a bill for like $1,700. They did a bunch of tests on this woman and they came back with a diagnosis of obesity. True story. And number 5 is no 8 to 12% annual increase. Our $59.95 price is not a promotional price. It's not going to change. It's not going to go up. That's the price. And the simplicity of this is we designed this to drive down the cost with a membership-based alternative. We're not making the money on the drugs. We're about people, not prescriptions. I appreciate everybody's time listening to this. I hope this was educational, and I'm here to answer any questions I can.
Yeah. Carmine, I just want to back up a second real quick here. Did you say that a doctor prescribed a patient OxyContin, an 80-year-old patient OxyContin?
Well, no. What it was, Mike, is that the PBM sent a letter saying that the morphine doesn't belong or doesn't fit in their formulary anymore. It's coming off of their formulary, and they're moving over to OxyContin because that fits in their formulary. And that's more or less $6 or $7 per pill. And the only reason why they're doing it is because they're getting a dollar rebate per pill back.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's Mike, it's disgusting when you understand how this industry really works. It truly is. It's the stories I could tell you about that kind of stuff going on is just absolutely incredible. And it's all in the name of profits. It's disturbing. It really is.
Honestly, I thought freight brokers were bad. It's funny. When I was on Wall Street, I was like, nothing could be worse than this. And then I moved over to General Freight and I said, nothing could be worse than this. And now I hear you do your presentation and I'm thinking, what could be worse than this? So it's like if anybody out there is looking for a health option, this is it. I mean, you couldn't find anything cheaper, more effective, in my opinion. I have some questions for you here.
Sure.
Let's see if we can go to one. Here we go. So if you call in and use the telemed, do they bill your insurance for the televisit?
No, absolutely not. So the way it works is everything is in that $59.95. So you receive unlimited urgent care telemedicine calls. So let's say your kids are sick. You get up in the morning, don't feel well. 4:00 in the morning, your 5-year-old is screaming, doesn't feel well. You can call unlimited amount of times for that kind of visit, and you can call them to get your maintenance medication renewed as well. And you get one of those calls that you could utilize. So if you run out of your maintenance medication, you can call them up and they'll renew it for you.
Okay. All right. Are any medications off limits? I know I've gotten a few questions about, some medications that women may use, hormone medications, things like that. Are there any medications that are off limits, like they can't get through Premier RX?
No, anything. So we have a full PBM behind us. So basically, whatever you can receive right now, you can receive through us. So
Okay.
somebody had asked me before, actually, when we were on the Twitter live this morning about the injectables and testosterone. It's all available.
Okay. I have more of a comment here.
Sure.
I've been using GoodRx, cheaper than the prescription benefits of my health insurance. Uh, I don't know. What's the difference between Premier RX and GoodRx?
So GoodRx, okay, so the way GoodRx works is they'll go to a Walmart, they'll go to a Walgreens, and they'll basically ask them for their best pricing matrix. And then they're just a massive marketing company that utilizes that matrix to push out there. Now, the thing is, what people don't realize when you use Single Care or you use GoodRx, they're paying $3 to GoodRx or to Single Care. Now, let's say, for an example, you got a $6 prescription and you go to the counter with your GoodRx card or your Single Care card. What will happen is they'll say, you know what, I can give it to you for $5.80. I can't give you much of a discount, but I can save you a little bit of money and you'll be happy with that. And the reason why is because they really owe $3 back to Single Care or to GoodRx. The pharmacy is not going to take $3. So they're going to basically hijack that card, not really use that card, and just give you a little bit of a savings. So that's kind of how that works. Now, the difference also is that when you're dealing with PBM pricing, you're looking at anywhere from 50 to 80% below retail. You can't match PBM pricing. You just truly can't. So we're actually, it's funny you asked this, Mike. We're actually doing it right now. We should have it in another week or so. We're going to have a comparison of the 50 kind of most popular drugs, and we're going to be matched up against Mark Cuban's Cost Plus, GoodRx, and we're putting that analysis together over the probably, let's call it the week and a half from now, and I'll be able to give you that data as well. And I have to share this. I just have to. I'm sorry, but this is kind of what pissed me off as well. If you go to Mark Cuban's website, Cost Plus, and you put in metformin, which is a diabetic drug, he'll tell you the retail price is $500. They'll tell you to sell it to you for $44.60. And I will tell you, it's on our formulary. It comes to your door because it's dirt cheap. It's a penny a pill for metformin. And this was one of the reasons I really decided to get into this industry. When I saw that a billionaire that I knew on TV was charging me $44.60 for something he can create for 35 cents, I realized he wasn't doing me any favors, and I wanted to be a part of this. I don't want to be a part of this, not for profits, but for doing the right thing on people, for people, because I knew the profits would follow. Listen, there's nothing wrong with making a lot of money by doing a lot of good. That's what we're doing here. We're going to serve a lot of people and going to make a lot of money for doing it. That's what this is all about. So that's this kind of what I wanted to share with people.
And I'm glad you did. He's an individual like a lot of other billionaires. They're opportunists. It is what it is. I'm not surprised at that at all. And this is the country we live in. It's not a bad thing. It's not illegal. It just speaks volumes of the type of people that you're dealing with, and it says a lot. It says that you could be a billionaire and still be a lowlife. You know what I mean? So it's okay. It's fine. This is America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's like if you're a freight broker and you're wrenching an owner operator who's on the balls of his feet, can't pay his insurance, can barely keep his truck on the road, and you've got $3,000 in this load, and you're trying to get him to do it for $500-600. It's okay. It's absolutely legal to do it, but don't get mad if I call you a scumbag. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? This is America. You have every right to do that. But don't jump on social media and jump down my throat if I call you a piece of garbage. You know what I mean? You are what you are. Uh, I appreciate you, Carmine, and I appreciate Premier RX. And to any of the members out there that are listening to this, and even if you're not a member, you should know that you sign up for this program, another $4, you get to add a person in your household. And I believe, you correct me if I'm wrong, Carmine, another $4 and you could add everyone in your household. Is that how that works?
So the way it works is for $4 you could add your spouse, and for another $4 you could add the whole household. So it's a
Wow.
total of $8 in total, and you can cover everybody. And you know, Mike, we didn't put this program together for the truckers, but it's just perfect for them, right? When a trucker's going from California to Chicago and doesn't feel well, they could pull over and they can call Swift MD, and within 9 minutes have a doctor on that screen. The doctor could send that prescription right across the street. They could get that antibiotic filled a half an hour later. It's and you know, because when we do the Twitter live, I mean, truckers have thanked me. One trucker said I can't put a 50-foot truck in the emergency room parking lot. I mean, this is what this is. But not only that though, but think about it. For $8 now, when that trucker's on the road, his significant other, his kids have coverage, and that's the beauty of this program. You know, it was designed to really help what is going on in this country right now, because the truth is nobody's really going to help us if we don't help ourselves. And
Right.
and I have a true passion for what I'm doing. I'm not here for lip service, but I'm here to do something to help everybody. I believe in being selfish by being selfless. That's what makes me feel good. I only, I answer to two people in my life, and that's God and that's the man in the mirror. And that's how I live my life. And that's kind of, I'm not looking to tell stories. So if you guys see what we're doing here, get behind us, get with us, come along. It's going to be a hell of a ride, and we're going to do a lot of things to change this country for the better. And Mike, I appreciate your association and what you were willing to do with your pricing on your membership. You should share that with them as well, because I think that was tremendous what you were willing to do with all the service you offer to offer this to the members of your association. I think that was tremendous, and and you're another one that's putting your money where your mouth is, and I appreciate that.
Will do. If you sign up for Premier RX now, your membership to the National Owner Operators Association is $15. I guess mic drop. That's it.
I appreciate that comment. Somebody just said that this would be awesome. Their family doesn't take any medication. They take thyroid. They had a thyroid disease and took that medication for 15 years. Listen, I got to just say this, Mike, because it's just how I feel. Big farmers, they're not really our friends. That's just the truth. I mean, they're truly there to make us customers for the rest of our lives. And what we really want to do is we want to start by educating people on really how this industry works. We want to provide the drugs they need right now. But ultimately, Mike, what we want to do is we want to move this into a holistic approach and help people get off of these drugs that are truly killing us. I mean, I was watching TV last night with my wife for 3 hours, and my God, every commercial was a drug commercial. Every one of them was a drug commercial. It's insane how they're just indoctrinating us with this thinking and our kids with this thinking. When I was a child, man, you didn't see a drug commercial on TV. You went to the doctor, you didn't feel well, you got a shot in the butt of penicillin, and back to school you went, right? And now we're getting bombarded with these pharmaceutical commercials about everything you can possibly think of. And I just got to share this with people because I want you to understand how this really works. If you look back in the medical journals, go back into the 80s, cholesterol at 300 was okay. What has happened? Well, they came out with all these cholesterol medications. They had to find more customers. So now if you have over 200 cholesterol, we got to put you on something. This is kind of how sickening this really is. And if you think I'm kidding, take a look at the show, which was The Biggest Loser, which was on NBC for years. It took 450-pound people that were on 12, 16 different medications. And by the time they were done going through the education of nutrition and working out and kind of just getting their paradigm shift of their way they thought about food and the way they thought about nutrition and their health, by the time they were done, they were weighing about 180 pounds. And they weren't on any prescriptions anymore. Right. And that's when you realize, man, you can do this yourself. It takes some education, it takes some commitment, but you can get off of big pharma. And that's truly what we're looking to do, is try to educate people to get off of big pharma. Because a lot of people really don't need these drugs they're taking, and they're driving them down our throats every way they can. And the cholesterol going from 300 to 200 acceptable is just one way they've done it.
Come on, I have a couple of questions before we get to the next question. And I see Joseph. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I know you have a question too, Joseph. So I just want to ask a question. I was talking to someone at your organization, and they said that there may be an option where if you use the telehealth doctors, you may be able to make them your primary doctor. Is that an option?
Yeah, so we're working on right now. We're working with SwiftMD. That would be what they call virtual primary care, where you can kind of literally build a relationship with that doctor. And we're working on that. We're working on a lot of things. What we're trying to do is we're trying to put the most powerful package together to give the most comprehensive coverage in so many areas that we can. And that's one of the things we're looking at right now with SwiftMD. Listen, as we build this and we got more power, we got more buying power, we got more negotiating power, we're just going to keep bringing things to this to make it more, just a stronger and stronger offering with more value as much as we can. But that would be what's called a virtual primary care, Mike, that you're speaking about. And yes, we're working on that as well.
Joseph, you want to chime in, brother?
I just want to say hello and thank you for coming, sir. And thank you, Mike, for the hosting. Let me introduce myself. I'm Joseph. I'm the handler for the lease department, the leasing department at NOOA. I've been doing this one. I've been driving for 12 years, and I'm an Army vet, and now I'm a driver too. I just wanted to say this things for about a question about the maybe helping some of the members that wanted to learn about this health insurance. What is it gonna cover exactly? If you could list that kind of stuff, is like it's covering this insurance. What is it covering exactly? Like surgery, or just like prescription, or that kind of stuff? That's what.
Yeah.
Like,
so I appreciate, at least I
information
appreciate your
to the
service.
members.
I appreciate your service as well. Okay, so this is not insurance. This is a prescription benefit program with a teledoc thrown in for convenience. What we cover is prescription. So we cover a formulary that will go to the door on a 90-day supply, which is comprised of over 1,000 generics that will be on a maintenance medication program. So if you have a thyroid condition, if you have blood pressure medication, if you have cholesterol medication, if you have inhaler, if you have birth control, those type of things are going to be covered in there. It also comes with 60 urgent care antibiotics that can be picked up. So let's say that teledoc, you go get an antibiotic because you don't feel well, a Z-Pack, whatever it is. You can go to your local pharmacy and pick that up as well. And then because we have a PBM, a pharmacy benefit manager behind us, we're going to cover every brand that you might have as well. So we also have a company that's getting us over 130 brands out of Canada at below, let's call it almost wholesale pricing. So any drug you need, whether it be under that generic formulary or it's another generic that you can walk in and pick up without prescription card, which is going to be at a discounted PBM pricing, or it's going to be those brands with the PBM behind us or with the company getting us 130 brands out of Canada. And then it comes with a teledoc. That teledoc, the doctors only work for the company. On average, 6 to 9 minutes, they're going to pop on the screen and help you. So that's what the program covers. We don't cover insurance. We're not covering hospitalization. We're not covering, nothing like that. Right now, it's prescriptions with a teledoc thrown in for convenience.
Thank you. I was just like trying to like help our member to understanding the coverage.
Sure,
Thank you.
no problem, no problem at all. And
Yeah.
Mike has a couple of the screenshots. He could share them. You could, you could go on the website. You go to your website, and right on top it says 365 script. You click on it. It gives you all the information there as well. We've got it. We've got yeah. You got all the information right there. So we designed this to be very straightforward, right to the point. There's not a lot of small print to read. This is the real McCoy here.
So, Carmine, that number there, 833
Yes.
464 4774. Is that a human being? Is that like a
Yes,
real
yeah.
person?
So we're having some glitches with that, and it's not on our end. It was on the I don't know if you want to call it the provider, because we looked at our database. We didn't have any missed calls. Some calls were not getting routed to us. That was the issue we were having. We believe it's fixed right now. I apologize if anybody was trying to get to us and they couldn't. I know somebody said this morning that it rang a couple of times and then it sounded like somebody picked up and hung up. That's because it was never actually going completely through to us. So we looked at our call log. We didn't have the information. We called up our provider and said, hey, what's going on here? And there was a glitch and we weren't receiving a lot of the calls. So I apologize, but we're doing everything we can to fix it.
It's working now.
Yes, it is.
Okay. When does enrollment start, and when does coverage start after you enroll? Like, how long does it take?
So the way it works is it's going to be, let's say for the people that want to sign up now, you have basically August 25th, August 27th. We got to get over
Carmine,
the member file.
I don't
What's
mean
that?
to cut you off, but the joker that was calling you is right there, Chris Bennick. He is the guy that was calling to try to get information. He's actually really been trying to sign up. He's got a need, and he was the one that was calling the 800 number. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. I don't know if you heard what I said, Chris, but we hope we found the problem now, because we weren't too happy when we heard that this morning, because we've got people there to answer the phones. We wanted to make sure that we can we had the customer service set up, but we just weren't getting them from the provider. So as always, I think I lost my train of thought, Mike.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm so rude. Sorry.
Just tee me back up. That's all.
Enrollment and
Enrollment. Okay. So the way it works is so the PBM won't accept any individuals. So we have to bring them in a kind of a group setting. So what we do is we give over what's called a member file. We have to have that over to them like the 25th to the 27th of the month to get the person enrolled for the next month. So if it happens in the middle of the month, we're going to need that 30 days to they might have to miss that first month and start the second month. So anybody that wants to join up right now would be able to get in for our September 1st, enrollment. If it's a company you're talking about, the way it would work is whenever the open enrollment would be, then we would kind of fit into that window. Let's say, their open enrollment would be, let's call it November 1st. We need a full 30 days to onboard them, because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to run their policy to our algorithm, and we're going to match it up so that we actually mirror their existing policy. And then we're going to get them the welcome pack. We're going to get them those cards made up and everything. So that whole onboarding process, because we're going to take all those maintenance medication, we're going to send those over to our mail order department as well. So we need a full 30 days to onboard a company.
Got it. And full disclosure, I did sign up for Premier RX. Jake signed his family up to Premier RX. So we are customers, and I expect my card and welcome pack soon. And I will be calling the 800 number with my concerns. Question.
Okay.
And I know you got to run, Carmine. It's been a long day. I'm sorry, but I've got a question since I'm
here to answer them. Go ahead.
Am I a customer I guess I'm a customer, right? Am I a customer or a patient? What would I be to you
Yeah, I
guys?
mean, I guess you could say a member. I would use the
A
word member
member.
than
Okay.
customer. Yeah, you're a member.
I got a drug that I take. It's not an American. It's not manufactured by an American company. I take it because it's the only one that doesn't make me sick. It's for my blood pressure, and it controls my blood pressure very well. Um, it costs about $500 a month. Uh, this medication. Would you guys be able to get me that, or would I have to get? Would you be like another, like all these other companies? They're like, oh, you can't have that, but you could have one of the other ones on this list. You know what I mean? And all of the ones on that list make me sick. You know what I mean? So what would happen in that case?
So
Can I
we
still
could
buy
get
that drug?
we could source that drug for you. Just send over what drug that is. We'll run it by the PBM first, and then we'll also run it through our Canadian, let's call it partnership, and we'll see where we can get you that drug. But we have some serious resources, Mike. I mean, Steven. You met Steven. Steven's been in this industry for over 30 years. He's the gentleman for everybody listening. I put the formulary together. We'll find you that drug. Don't worry about that. We will. And I'd love to see what we get you that drug for compared to what you're paying right now, too.
It's crazy, man. It's a great drug.
It is crazy.
It doesn't make me sick, but some Japanese firm company makes it in Japan, and I don't know the rules on it, but it's crazy. Question.
Sure.
So I got sick. Everybody knows I had COVID almost a month ago, and after I got COVID, I got some sort of weird. Like a week later, I got some sort of weird. What do you call that kind? It was an infection. It was something that could be treated with antibiotics. For some reason, no doctor wanted to give me antibiotics. So I went to my primary doctor. I went to this urgent care over here. And I went to a few different places and nobody would give me antibiotics. Finally, after like 3 days, I was able to find a doctor that said, yeah, you need antibiotics. And he gave me antibiotics. So my question to you is, if I were to just go to you guys, I mean, a doctor pops on the screen. Is he going to give me my antibiotics and stop busting my hump? Like, I know I'm 50 years old. I know when I got a bacterial infection or something, I need antibiotics. I don't need you to, run me around in circles. You know what I mean? Just write the prescription and give me the antibiotics so I can get out of here. Is that the way it's going to be with you guys, or am I going to get the circle jerk like I got with these guys over here?
I mean, I could just tell you, Mike, what we put together here is the most comprehensive program to help people. We're going to try to give you everything you need. Now, what that doctor is going to say to you when you call Swift MD, and he's going to say, well, we got to give you this instead of that. That I couldn't tell you. I'm not a doctor. I don't want to profess to be one. So I don't want to, I'm going to use a disclaimer on that one. But if you need a real antibiotic, that's what you're going to receive. I mean, these are real doctors. So if you give them symptoms that they say, hey, listen, let's get you a Z-Pack, let's get you an antibiotic, you're going to get it. That's all I can say to you on that.
I like that because I think you got to take a lot of antibiotics in order to OD on them. And from my knowledge, amoxicillin isn't like, it's not like there's not like a shortage of it in the world or something like that. Like, just give me the antibiotics and let me go home. Question. Once again, I know you already said this. What drugs are covered? Is it certain class drugs? Is it only antibiotics? What about pain drugs, diabetes, etc.?
Yeah, so I could get you over to. I can't share the formulary because that's proprietary, but I can share the categories that we cover, and I had put it in the. I could send it over to you, Mike. We have that, and I could get that over to you. I know I put it in the Twitter feed last week when somebody had asked the same question. I can show the categories. So yes, diabetes medication is going to be there, blood pressure, cholesterol, thyroid medication, all the maintenance medications that the person would take, whatever that kind of condition is going to be in there. It's designed to cover over 90% of the maintenance medication that somebody takes. So all those categories, all those different situations were considered when that formulary was put together.
Got it. Got it. And I appreciate it if you could let me know what those meds are. We got another question here. What about this is a good one, man. This is a good one. What about antidepressants like lithium? And I believe Ritalin is one of them. Isn't that correct?
That's an ADHD medication, Ritalin.
What about things like that?
They're all there. They're
Okay.
all there. I could get you over to. I have it here somewhere. Hold on a second. Let me see something. Probably gonna be too hard for me to find right now. I don't want to hold everybody up, but I'll get you over the actual, all the categories of what we cover. I'll get that over to you. Not a problem.
Okay.
But yes, the answer would be yes to that. Doctors widespread are trying to not
Good
to
enough for me.
products in general. They say they're concerned about resistant building to them. Correct. You're correct about that. Yes. Antibiotics are really not good for you, quite honestly. They're really not. They destroy the bowel. They destroy the probiotic that lives in your body. That's another conversation for another time. I'm not a doctor, but I do know enough about that. So that's why when you take an antibiotic, you should be taking a probiotic to offset it as well. Antibiotics they're not great for you. They're really not. And we try to show people there's a lot more natural alternatives, holistic approaches. I could personally tell you I've been a vegan for over 3.5 years.
I was just about to ask you about that. That was my next question, sir.
Bennett,
what is it like to be a vegan? I see you are very healthy, from what I see of you on this camera, and you're. I don't want to put your age out there, but you're older than me, and you look younger than me. Is this because you're a vegan? Can you explain this vegan stuff?
I appreciate that, Mike. I'll be 56 in December, just so you know. I try to take care of myself. We became vegans. My wife actually became a vegetarian over 20 years ago. And we tried the vegan route back then. Like you, I was working in the city at the time up in Manhattan, and I couldn't find anything to eat. I couldn't have pizza. I couldn't have eggs. I was like, babe, I can't do this. We did it for about 3 weeks, the vegan thing, and then we moved into the vegetarian. I did that for about 4 years. And at that time, I went back to the dark side because, I couldn't have anything but soy noodles and soy nuggets. And I was always hungry, and I just really wasn't enjoying it. But now there's such a plant-based push that you have Whole Foods and you have Aldi's and you have Trader Joe's and you have all these different options. Excuse me. You have all these different options now that you could really substitute anything and make it feel, make it taste like the real thing. What I felt the biggest difference for me personally is you don't get the heaviness in your stomach anymore. You don't need that 2 hours to digest anymore.
Right.
And I am going to be 56 years old. And I was starting to have problems going to the bathroom like 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. And I think it was because maybe my prostate was getting inflamed, and I don't have that anymore. I can lay in bed to 8 o'clock in the morning now and not have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. That's a godsend for me right there. But it's a choice. It was a choice for 2 reasons. As I've gotten older, I've kind of looked at it, and I really don't think it's right what we do to these animals. I've done a lot of research on these plants and kind of how they grow them and care for them and don't care for them, and it's kind of sad. And we just made choices that this is what we wanted to do. So,
Got it. Joseph, any other questions?
No, I don't have any questions. I was just trying to make it clear for our member what is it covering this health insurance.
Well, once again, let's
insurance.
get it out there. It's not health insurance. It's a health option. I'm confused too, but for legal purposes, we must call it a health option, which is weird because if I pay $59 a month for it, plus my NOAA membership, $15, and I go on Teledoc and I speak to a doctor and he gives me a prescription and I go fill it. It seems like health insurance to me, but we can't call it that. It's a health option.
It's a prescription benefit program. It's a prescription benefit program. It's not insurance.
I don't know about this stuff. I'm sorry because
That's
I
okay.
rarely
That's
go.
okay.
I rarely go to the doctor. Rarely go to the doctor. I don't. I always watch what I eat, and I'm always taking care of myself. So I don't know.
Everybody gets sick, Joseph.
Right.
You know, my father was like Carmine. He believed that what you put in your body is very important, and he never got sick. He didn't get, I ain't going to say never because I seen him get sick a few times, but it was rare. And when he got sick, it was bad. But everybody gets sick, even the strongest of us, you know, like bulls. We all get sick, brother. And when you do get sick, it's good to have anything. And this right here is something. It's a big deal. And please, if you do not have health insurance, this is a good option for you. You can check it out at www.tnooa.com, the NOAA website, and you can get all the information on it if you are a member. And we did lower our membership fee to join the association if you sign up for Premier RX. Let's see if we got any other questions here. Carmine, I know you've been on for an hour, and we agreed to shut the show down for after an hour. But let's see if we got something else here. I'm looking. Any other questions? Anybody got any other questions for Carmine from Premier RX? Tim, I don't know what you're sorry about missing. If you have a question, Carmine is here. Just throw it out there. Now, here's one. If you are a carrier and you have owner operators leased on to your authority and they want this health option, would the carrier be able to provide this health option to the owner operators for them, or do they have to sign up themselves individually? Would you know the answer to that, Carmine?
Yeah, I mean, so we rolled this out. Let me give you an example to answer your question. We had one of our referral partners. That's what we call them, people that drive business to us. Their friend owns 100 subways. Now they have about 25, 27 employees on their corporate benefits, but they have 970 employees in those 100 subways with nothing, no coverage whatsoever. And they asked us, would we roll out a voluntary program to help those people? And we said, yes, we would. And that opened us up to a market we didn't even think about, quite honestly. And that's franchisors. That's 1099s. Think about these people in sales offices, right? Real estate offices, mortgage offices that don't have anything, right? Somebody working in Papa John's, Domino's, a small doctor's office that truly doesn't have any coverage. So we rolled out the program to be non-voluntary for a business owner. And then for those other groups, we rolled out a voluntary program as well. So what that owner operator could do, if the company is large enough, they would roll out a non-voluntary for their W-2 employees. And they could also roll out a voluntary program for anybody else they wanted to include in it. And what they would do is they would become the member file. So basically they would be the employer, and they would just send over the file to us. So to answer your question, Mike, we're going to try to cover everybody we can, and we're going to make this as flexible as we can. That's what we're really looking to do. We're not looking to do something where, well, you're excluded. We're going to do whatever we can. If everybody wants this kind of coverage, we're going to try to give it to everybody we can. Non-voluntary or voluntary, we'll fit and we'll make it work.
Carmine, I got a good question here, and
Sure.
I'm actually curious about this one.
Sure.
Children don't see regular doctors; they see pediatricians, right?
Mhm.
So, is that an option with you guys? Like, is my kid going to see a pediatrician with teledoc or a regular doctor?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I don't actually know the answer to that. If you would call up with a 5-year-old screaming, if you would get a pediatrician or if you just get a regular doctor. Great
That's a good
question,
question.
Mike.
If you
Yeah, I
get
don't know
back to
the.
me on that, that's fine. So, our
I'll
kids.
get you the answer though, but I don't want to give you a bad answer. Go ahead.
Hey, it is what it is. I do that as well. Are kids covered, or is it extra? We
Well,
already covered that.
kids would fall on the household. So
Right.
once you paid the $4 for the
Four
spouse
dollars.
and paid the $4 for the family, then the kids would be covered. And
Right.
and the beauty of this program is when your kid gets up, and I've raised 3 of them. When your kid gets up and doesn't feel well, what do most parents do? They run to the emergency room, right? Well, now you can just call Swift MD, not even take that kid out of the house. Lay on the couch with them under the blanket. Swift MD will pop on within 9 minutes, and they're going to help you. So that's, listen, if you got a broken bone or you're bleeding because you just cut yourself open, I'm not going to say that you're going to sit there on Swift MD. They're going to send you to the emergency room. But
I got.
Mike, what you realize is that 80% of the time, people don't go to the emergency room for nothing more than get a prescription to feel better. The other 20% is made up of broken bones, stitches, and I got a pain in my chest. But most people just go because it's convenient and they just want to get a prescription to feel better. So, but yeah, no, you would be able to utilize the Swift MD, and if you have to go to the emergency room, they're gonna send you to the emergency room. But for most people, they're just going to need to see that doctor, get a prescription, and get medication in and feel better.
I got I got a funny story about my oldest son getting sick when he was a baby. He was about, I think he was probably 1 years old then, and he was really sick. And I was thinking about this teledoc thing, and how it would have come in handy. There was a crazy downpour, like there was floods everywhere. Every once in a while here in this area, we get these crazy, unusual downpours, and the whole area floods. And it was this one night that he picked to get like so sick. Like we were checking to make sure he was breathing. You know what I mean? Like he was that sick. And so my wife finally says, listen, I'm going to stay with this kid, get him to the emergency room. And I'm looking out the window and I'm like, how, how am I going to make it? I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm taking the SUV. So I get my son in this SUV and we start rolling, and I can't see. The windshield wipers are moving so fast. I'm thinking these things are going to pop off. And we go down this road over here, and it's always flooded. One raindrop falls, and this whole road floods, right? The cops come and they block it off, like, don't come down here, you'll wash away. But this was like a flash flood. Anyway, long story short, man, I go down there, I see this big lake, and I see the rain, and I'm looking at my son in the car seat in the back, and I'm like, I gotta go. And I went through this water, and you start feeling the truck start drifting away, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die with this little boy in here. And I just panicked, and I'm turning the steering wheel, and the truck is floating away. And luckily, I hit the gas, and it caught the ground, and it went up, and I jetted out of this lake. And man, I made it to the doctor. But long story short, if I would have had Premier RX, I would have saved myself almost dying with my 1-year-old son.
Yeah.
That's my story. So back to the questions. Yeah, answer to your question, Tim. It's $4 for every extra person in your household.
No.
Sorry.
It's $4 for the spouse, and it's $4 more for everybody else in the household. It's not $4 per person in the household. It's just a total of $8 more. That'll cover everybody in the house and your spouse.
Got it. Is it a tax deduction?
Well, I'm not here to give tax
Good
advice,
question.
but you could figure out ways to make it tax
It
deductible.
is.
I would have to
It
say.
is. Yes, it is, because I know, because I do my taxes. Yes, medical costs are tax deductible.
Yes.
Health insurance or coverage or whatever is tax deductible. Whatever you paid to take care of yourself is tax deductible. What about my girlfriend? We are not married.
Do you live in the same
If we
house?
live together, yeah,
You
you're
live at the
covered.
same address.
You're right. Uh-huh.
You live at the same
Uh
address. $4 more would cover her as a household.
Okay, so he answered the question I had. A general family practice doctor is qualified for children. They don't have to be a pediatrician. Okay.
Oh no, I knew
Um,
that. I thought the question you asked me, would a pediatrician get on? That was the question I was trying. No, I
right.
understand general family practitioner, but what I was trying to see is, does an actual pediatrician get on, or they just give you that general family practice doctor. So that was what I was trying to find the answer to. I don't know if they give you an actual pediatrician that will pop on. But you talked about your son. I've raised 3 children. I can't tell you how many times I've sit in that pediatrician's office, and my God, I think I got sick every time I was there. Kids coughing on you, sneezing on you. It's not a place you want to be, man. It's just not. It's not fun. You got your kids screaming and crying on you, and you got other kids screaming and crying, and you're sitting there in this incubator of germs, and you're like, my God. So yeah, I wish I had this program, when I was raising those 3 children.
Me and my wife, we laugh about that night all the time, man. I think about it all the time. Oh man, this was before teledoc and telemed and all that other stuff, man.
Hey, I got. You want to hear a funny story, Mike? I got one
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
We're watching my brother-in-law's 15-year-old pit bull.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, he was passing away. He had this tumor in his backside, and he was, starting to bleed from his rectum and this, that, and the other thing. We take him to
Mhm.
one of those like emergency care veterinarian,
Mhm.
facilities one night, like 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. And we put all this plastic on the back seat and everything. He's laying in there. And they said, just
Right.
kind of like, let's make him feel good. And, they gave us stuff to soften his stool, and all that. So we're coming home and it starts to downpour. I live in Florida. It starts to downpour. I mean, downpour. And all of a
Mhm.
sudden we hear, and he blows out all over the door, the
Oh,
seatbelt, over the seat. And now it's pouring. And me and my wife are stuck in this car with this roasted smell.
yeah.
And so we called my son. My youngest son lives with us. I said, give me the golf umbrella, come down with a flashlight, comes outside and everything. Now I'm trying to grab this 90-pound pit bull that's in the middle of the back seat. My wife is holding the umbrella over my head so I can grab him out.
Right.
I'm telling you, man, if there was a video on that, it would have won a lot of money on Funniest Home Videos. It was hysterical. But it
It's
was,
always during a rainstorm, right? It's
oh my
always like
God.
the worst things happen. You know what
Downpour.
I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about it for the questions. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Carmine, any last thoughts you want to add here before we close it down?
No, I mean, listen, I appreciate the time, Mike. I appreciate what you guys are doing for the truckers. I love your fight. I'm taking on Big Pharma right now, but what we're trying to do here is we're trying to do something that's good for everybody. Like I said, we're about people, not prescriptions. This was put together by a bunch of people that really care about people and realize what's going on is wrong and wanted to get involved and be a part of it. So that's really what this is about. And if you guys have any questions or any concerns, comments, or whatever, just get them over to either me or Mike, and we'll be happy to try to answer them. My email is carmine@premier-rx.us, and I'll be happy to try to answer any questions I can. And I appreciate the time.
Absolutely, Carmine. Thank you for coming on. And I just want to say that you've got an open invitation. Anytime you want to come on here, please come on. This program, I want to let everybody know that you don't have to be a trucker to be involved in this program. It's open to everyone. The information is available on the website. And like Carmine said, if you have any questions, you can email them or you can get in contact with me. And, we want everyone to be healthy. The most important thing here to know is, the CDC basically says that truckers got a lifespan of about 61 years old. And, we got to take care of ourselves. We're working on a lot of things at the National Owner Operators Association concerning healthcare, nutrition, things like that. So, it's important. I know everybody thinks they're invincible, or you're thinking, I've been going this long without it, I can go a little bit longer. You don't have to. It's not really that expensive. $50 a month really ain't that bad. So definitely consider checking it out. And once again, Carmine, thank you for being here. Open invitation anytime you want to come on, anytime you got any new news or anything you want to let the members know. Remember, this is here on Facebook. It's going to be here, so people will come back and look at it later. It's also going to be on YouTube, on Twitter. It's going to be on the MAGA Mission website. It's going to be on LinkedIn. It's going to be on Google. So it's going to be everywhere, brother. So
I appreciate it, Mike. Appreciate your help getting the message out. And, we're just looking to grow this message with people that really resonate with what we're doing. And, we're going to try to start a movement. Quite honestly, that's what we're looking to do. We're trying to take the power back to the people. That's what we're looking to do here. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate the opportunity and the open invitation. And let's do some good things. Let's do a lot of good things for a lot of people. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here, Carmine. You have a good night.
You too, Michael. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Joseph.
Yes, sir.
You got to run, or couldn't you stay on for a little while?
No, I can stay.
Okay.
Yep. I have nothing.
So today, I met with Senator Ted Cruz and his people.
Okay.
And let's just say it was an interesting meeting. I don't want to get into too much detail right now, but we've got a lot of work to do, and they definitely heard us. We heard them, and we know where they stand. And we brought up our points and what we are looking to accomplish. And I want everybody to know, I know I've been saying this a lot in the group and on Twitter and other places. It is vitally important for you to contact your representatives in Washington and make your voice heard, because you don't even know how important it is. I will park it right there until I get all of my notes and thoughts together. But there is a lot of work to do in Washington, let me tell you. Go ahead, Joseph.
No, I just I'm glad you had that meeting. I know you've been telling us about this one. And as I heard about Ted Cruz, he's a he's a good guy, and then he's really working for better. After I seen his videos is online and on social media, when he talking to the what's his name, the director of the Homeland Security, and about this open border, he got him good. So I mean, I'm hoping from him he's gonna doing good for us too, and I believe it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, brother. Ted Cruz, meeting with Ted Cruz is important for people that are in the trucking industry that are watching this or listening to it later, Ted Cruz is the ranking member of the Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. There are a number of people that are members of this committee, but for the Republican side, Ted Cruz is the ranking member. So it is important to let him know where you stand on the Motor Carrier Act of 1980, S.2426, of transparency. They are very, very aware of transparency. They are in communication with the FMCSA and the DOT daily, as per their words, not mine. They are very clued in on what's going on with transparency, and we spoke about that. A lot of things going on with. They're very clued in, and if you are in the state of Texas and you're a truck driver or owner operator, it is very important for you to get in touch with your Senator Ted Cruz, because I'll just park it right there. There goes the air brake. Down with the megas. I agree, sir. Yes, indeed. Down with the megas. Let's see here. Any other questions? Well, you know what, Joseph? It's already 9:15, and really this show was for Premier RX, and Carmine got his information out there, and I guess we'll save the rest of this for another day. Once again, we'll be back on here tomorrow. This is a daily show. Thank you to everybody for joining us here on NOAA Live, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Thank you. Have a great rest of your week, and once again, see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thank you.